Hello, I'm Neil Quigley and welcome to my podcast. The Prime Minister this week suggests it's fine to print lines on the side of a bus, but you must use the word Easter when talking about chocolate eggs. All this fuss over an advert claiming something. I can't think of one person who has ever refused to eat a Cadbury's cream egg because it does not say Easter on the wrapper. Pretty sure you could buy them all year round anyway. If you need a chocolate egg to let you know it's Easter, I'm suspecting you're not overly religious. As it's announced that the first woman to get a statue in Parliament Square will be Dame Millicent Fawcett, we hope they don't hire the bloke who did Ronaldo's and worry about what headline the Daily Mail will use to cover the story. Now that Article 50 has been triggered, I'm genuinely worried our exit from Europe could turn into a massive game of deal or no deal, as Theresa May has to blindly open a number of boxes while being helped by Noel Edmonds, and receiving offers over the phone from Angela Merkel after every three she's opened. It looks like relations with Spain could get a bit rocky over Gibraltar, but there's more to the island than just that. Some members of the House of Lords have complained about mumbling on television shows. Ironically, it's probably best highlighted on the Parliament channel. Hear, hear. Ken Livingstone resurfaces this week once again to volunteer to rewrite the theme tune to Dad's Army. The Oxford versus Cambridge boat race was able to go ahead after an unexploded World War II bomb was removed from the Thames. I know it seems like we're trying to take England back to a previous time in history, but this is now getting ridiculous. American golfer Lexi Thompson ended up losing a major tournament after a TV viewer noticed her break the rules. I didn't realise golf had gone interactive. Imagine if as a football fan you could phone in and change the referee's decision if you could prove it was wrong. Some of the Premier League's officials' phones would be lighting up like the bat phone if you could do that. After a footballing tortoise becomes a worldwide hit online, I wish there were more videos of my playing days. I was so slow, the crowd often thought they were watching in slow motion. I remember one game I tried an overlap and got overtaken by the linesman. Shakespeare is writing his own headlines at Leicester, but if his name is anything to go by, nobody will fully appreciate and teach his coaching skills in schools until long after he is gone. Celtic have won their 6th Scottish Premier title in a row, meaning only Brendan Rodgers can match the CV of many online football manager players. The Indian Super League is underway and it's guaranteed to give you the runs with more certainty than a Vindaloo curry. This week people are asking, should exercise be compulsory at work? Well, surely it depends on what you do. If you're a professional sports person, then yes. If you're a doctor doing an 18-hour day, probably not. I don't know when you get time to do that. A couple who met on a social media website had a Twitter-themed wedding where they only invited 140 characters. Shia LaBeouf's new film took just £7 on its opening weekend with just one person buying a ticket. If only they'd bought some popcorn, it would have trebled that cinema's takings. Barry Manilow has officially come out, which is a relief, as for a while I was worried he was the only one who didn't know. Well then, this week has seen the most talked about Pepsi commercial since they set fire to Michael Jackson's hair. Also this week, John Lydon has defended Ed Sheeran, or to put it another way, this week was the week that punk finally died. Tom Jones swore on the Voice Live TV final. To be fair, that is unusual. He has done loads of TV in the past, but let's not forget, he was a minor for a bit, so he'd know a few choice words, and apparently to celebrate the fact he's re-releasing a new version of an old song, he's going to call it F-Bomb. Not sure why the aviation authorities were worried about Harrison Ford flying over another plane to land in America. I've seen him fly right out of a giant creature's open mouth in the past. A woman in Scotland was shocked to get a £24,000 car parking charge. She would not have been if she worked in London. That's the average amount to park in the capital for a week. A development of luxury homes in Cambridge has been daubed with graffiti written in Latin. Vandals spray-painted the new 5-bedroom riverfront houses with the words locus in domus loci populum. Now that says to me that students at the university are still watching and enjoying Monty Python's Life of Brian. I mean, surely it would be easy to trace the culprits. There can only be about 5 people still doing a Latin degree. A rare diamond known as the Pink Star has been sold in Hong Kong for more than £57 million, setting a new world record for any gemstone at auction. If I owned that, when it was in my hand, I'd turn into Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Ah, my precious! £57 million for a diamond. I mean, what would you do with it? Where could you go with it? Where would you wear it? I mean, it would be a bit over the top for a night out at the bingo, right? Have you ever tried selling or buying stuff on eBay? It's very addictive, isn't it? A mate of mine gets such an adrenaline rush when an item he is bidding on closes. His heart rate goes through the roof. This guy used to do motocross racing and he's done bungee jumping and completed a skydive. But nothing can match the thrill of winning the Chester draws off a couple in Wiltshire, it would seem. A man in America who complained about his remote garage locking device to the firm who makes it was locked out of his own garage by them, just then proving they were right. As Facebook announces plans to block revenge porn on their sites, I'm a little disappointed. I've never actually seen any. I didn't even know that existed. That is it for this week's podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Have a fantastic 7 days, and I'll speak to you again next week. Have fun.